I would like to introduce the candidates for City Council District 1 at this time. Susan Kettner, Democratic and Working Families Parties, and to my far left, Louis Trangucci, Republican, Independents, and Conservative parties. We will now hear opening statements. Mr. Trangucci, will you please begin? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, League of Women. And ladies and gentlemen, my name is Louis Trangucci. I'm a lifelong resident in New Rochelle. I've lived and grew up in West New Rochelle, and I'm currently a resident in West New Rochelle. I entered this race not from a political standpoint. Politics doesn't drive me. I entered it because I'm a concerned citizen. Where the city has taken us, the burden that's been put on us with these taxes, threatens us, and it concerns me greatly. Married to a wife for 26 years. I have 4 children. All have gone through the New Rochelle school system. My youngest is actually still in New Rochelle High School. But again, I'm a business person. I've worked in the private sector for 13 years as an engineering manager. I currently own my own business, a sole proprietorship, for 14 years. And I'm a business person. I look at things from a business perspective. We need to make a profit. And this city is not doing the job for its citizens. I'm for responsible development, not development that puts the burden on the taxpayers of this city. I'm against reassessment. You've heard about it, and you'll hear about it more. I'm for for retail. I want to see retail in this city, and we need it. We need the revenue from retail. I'm also proactive for young kids. We need to get these kids off the street. We need to use our boys and girls clubs, which I grew up in Feeney Park Boys Club. It's a great place. We have to get these kids off the street. We have to use our schools, our fields, and open them up. But again, this city is being directed in the wrong way. And the irresponsible development that's taking place, especially Avalon 1 and 2, the burden that it's putting on our taxpayers, and believe me, you're going to feel it in the next 2 or 3 or 4 years. The burden of the infrastructure costs, the burden that the school system is going to feel from Avalon, you're going to feel it. There's no question about it. And at some point, someone has to pay the piper.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Kettner.
Thank you very much. I'd like to just begin by thanking the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this forum this evening. Before I begin, I'd like to thank all of the people in Council District 1 who have opened their doors and their hearts to me as I've traveled and made my bid for this first time political office bid that I've made. I've never run for political office before. I'm running this race as an advocate to represent the people in my district, the people in the neighborhoods of the South and West End who often feel they don't have a voice in this city. I have jumped into this race with a lot of new ideas, basically with respect to a lot of the problems that I've heard as I've walked the district. You know, lack of parking, traffic, congestion, fear of personal safety, because people walking back at night can't find a parking space. Basically, people concerned about not being able to pay their taxes in the future. I've jumped in with a host of new ideas to address these concerns. I've already contacted Metro North, the Thruway Authority, to try to locate pockets of neighborhood parking that could be used for our neighborhood. I've also proposed a Pelham Road jitney bus service that would take the residents of Pelham Road to the core of our downtown without having to rely on cars. I also have proposed a tenants' bill of rights, which will ensure that the residents and the tenants of New Rochelle will have the most progressive protections. Basically, I also want to state, too, I have a lot of ideas. I'm also on the record for opposing reassessment and also against the DPW move. But this race is not about what I'm opposed to. It's about my being an effective advocate for people in the south and west ends of the city who feel that they have not had a seat at the table for many, many years. And I feel, based on my experience of being a lifelong advocate and representing people in this community for my entire adult life, that I am that person. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now begin our question and answer period. The first question will be from the League of Women Voters of New Rochelle. Joan Silverstein, the New Rochelle League President, will ask the question.
Thank you for joining us this evening. Our question for the district candidates is very similar to the one that we posed to the mayoral candidates, but it's a two-part question. And so since you do represent a particular district, you also have to think about the city as a whole when you deliberate. What do you consider, again, broadly, the most pressing problem in the city, and what do you see as the most pressing problem in your district?
Ms. Kettner, you have 1.5 minutes.
Okay, basically, I would have to start out by saying, with respect to the most pressing problem in my district, I think that the people, the residents of the south and west ends of the city really feel for a number of years that they are not going to, that they have not had a voice in what's going on in the city of New Rochelle. I've heard them repeatedly come to, when I was chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals, come and whether it's my opponent or I who are victorious, neither of us is going to rule over a district or preside over a district that's going to have a clear majority. So basically, I think, it's really just changing the dialogue of going forward. This is not about Republican, Democrat, big box stores or no big box stores, big buildings or no big buildings. It's really about having a dialogue about the issues openly and honestly with an eye that we are all in this together. And I also want to emphasize, too, that I would really focus on the concerns in my district, which is the oldest part of the city, traffic, density, the backyard issues in terms of lack of parking. I think also strengthening our downtown economy, bringing in retail. I have very specific plans, with respect to bringing in retail. We can't wait 2 years down the road. We've really got to focus our full attention on bringing in retail to the downtown area. This would begin, I believe, by inventorying all the available space, the space that's available, find out what people are asking for in price, and proceed from there, do our own homework. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Trangucci.
Well, the most pressing issue for the city is generating revenue. I mean, if we don't generate revenue, it's going to cost us taxpayers more and more to live here. Avalon 1 and 2 got tax abatements for 30 years. The Avalon Corporation brings in $20 million a year. And ask yourself what they give to the city. Zero. The school system has a $230 million budget. If Avalon contributes 100 kids to our school system, it costs $20,000 a year to put a kid through the school system, child. That's going to cost the New Rochelle residents $2 million a year. Avalon won't pay for it. The residents in Avalon won't pay for it. You will. That's the most pressing issue in the city. As far as my district goes, the most concerns I hear about is reassessment, and that's a double-edged sword. I mean, reassessment is just to really reshuffle the taxes, but it's going to cost the city residents $2 million to do the reassessment. And on top of that, the double-edged sword is when you sell your home, the new owners will pay a 3% tax on the sale price of your home. So what does that do for you? It's going to reduce the equity of your home. You might not be able to sell the home for $1 million or $600,000. So, and that's the way the city is going to generate revenue, because they're hard pressed for revenue. So when they turn over 50 homes or 100 homes, you add $5,000 or $10,000 in taxes. That's where they pick up the revenue. This city is hurting. It's hurting bad. And we need to get something on track. We need to get business people in there with business ideas that we can generate money for the city. That I can alleviate the burden of all of you. I love this city. I want to live here for the rest of my life. And my kids love this city.
Thank you. We will now take questions from the audience. Please form a line behind the microphone if you wish to ask a question.